Priyanka, could you share the slide?
Yep, it comes in a second. I thought I had it open, man. Now it's open. So now let's see.
Yeah, can you see my slides?
Yeah, we can see them. Thanks a lot. Okay, so welcome everybody. Welcome to the third and the final day of Youth Internet Governance Forum India 2020 annual event. I am Ahita Gangavarapu. So over the last 2 days, we understood the fundamentals of internet governance, functioning of the internet, emerging technologies and challenges, data governance, and how do we stay safe online. Today, we will have sessions on two overarching themes, environment and inclusion. It is the first time at Youth IGF India that we are introducing the environment as a theme for our event. India actually has a population of 1.38 billion and a density of 464 people per square kilometer. The telephone subscribers, as per the Telecom Regulatory Authority of India, are 1.16 billion, and broadband subscribers are 705 million. The overall tele-density of India is around 86%, but the rural tele-density is 60%. So with the Digital India program and the measures for digital inclusion, there's a scope for a further increase in the penetration of the internet. This has the potential to increase the number of devices and the deployment of equipments. There are two environmental dimensions of concerns that arise here. The first is that the e-waste generation. Second, we have the increase in the energy consumption and the possible increase in the carbon footprint. In this regard, to address the participants in the youth today, we are delighted and honored to have Dr. Thomas Lindhqvist, Senior Lecturer at Lund University, Sweden, deliver the keynote. Sir has worked with environmental research and policy since 1984. His focus has been on environmental product policy and management responses to these. He has done substantial work on waste management, recycling, and prevention in Sweden, the EU, the Nordic countries, in Canada, Argentina, India as well, China, Georgia, Ukraine, and several other places. Besides working with academic research projects, he has worked with, for instance, Swedish Ministry of Environment and Natural Resources, coining the Extended Producer Responsibility EPR principle in 1990, OECD Swedish Car Association developing their proposal for the EPR system, and several NGOs. He defended his PhD on EPR in 2000. Thank you very much, sir, for joining in and addressing our participants today. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be up early in the morning here. It's still dark outside, but I hope this will be an interesting session. You are just now looking at the institute where I have been working the last 25 years. It's a very nice building in the center of a small and very comfortable city called Lund. But what we will talk about is one of the problems, one of the environmental problems of the modern society, and its links to waste. And as a background, I would like to say that what we are experiencing now is a society we have never experienced. We are consuming so much. It's just incredible compared to anything we have seen before. But every time we consume something, in the end, there will be waste. And we have not changed our way of dealing with waste to the same level. You can say that most of the time in our history, we have recycled, but we have recycled what is profitable. And the rest, especially when we started to build cities, we have asked the municipality to take care of the problem, the things which are not profitable. And we have realized, when we know more about how things are working, that many of our products are not taken care in a good way, even if they are recycled. They are creating all different kind of problem, and sometimes we simply don't take care of it at all. Municipalities who have this ultimate role almost everywhere in the globe, they don't manage to raise the money. If you had worked in a municipality, you would have found out that it's not easy to get money to your budget, and there's a lot of needs. And to spend money on waste might be necessary, but it's not very popular. You don't win the elections for that. We have had, and we still have, very similar problems as other countries. Some 30 years ago, when I was asked to look into this, I tried to create a strategy which I came to call extended producer responsibility. I wrote a report for our Ministry of Environment, organized an international small meeting a couple of years later, and have now been able to see how this has spread, these ideas which I presented at that time. So, what did I speak about? Well, extended producer responsibility is meaning that someone should do more than before. They should extend their responsibility. And also that we will shift a lot of the responsibility from municipalities to businesses. And responsibility means that you should pay for it and you should organize it. We wanted to get two main types of outcomes. One has to do with how you manufacture and design your product. So we simply wanted to give incentives for better products. Better in the sense that they would not only perform well, but they will also have good environmental properties. Then, once they come to end of life, we wanted that we should be collecting everything, we should treat it in a good way, and we will return to the society materials which we could recycle, use again, or we could reuse the whole product. This was the ideas around it. Now, when we organize this, the various producers with a new responsibility are forming what we call producer responsibility organizations. So companies, producers are paying to them, and this PRO is organizing. But they are normally not doing the work themselves, but they find other companies who are good at transports, who are good at sorting, who are good at recycling, and they pay them to do work. And then finally they report to your authorities, to your government. So a very important role is played by these operators, and they are paid, of course, for doing this. But things are not always working as easily as we would like to. What we have seen is that the cheapest way for these actors to deal with it is that you mix things before you start to recycle. And that means that the quality of the recycled products, materials goes down, and you can't use them for the same purpose anymore, but you have to go and find somewhere where you're not asking for the same level of refinement. It turned out that it's not that expensive for most producers, so they are not that likely to change as we had hoped for, and we have seen less of new designs which will solve the problems, less than we had hoped for. We have seen governments who have been reluctant to really enforce the laws. And that means a lot of cheating. And when you have a situation, well, why should you change as a producer? So the change has been much less than we hoped for. From Europe and from many of the affluent countries, we have also seen an export going to countries with less strict rules. And at the same time, many of these countries have increased their domestic use of these products and consumption. And that means they have also gradually got real amounts of domestic waste. And in these countries, the need for real supervision of rules and control that someone is actually doing what they are claiming to do has in many cases been lacking even more than what we were used to and are used to in the European sense. But I should not just complain and say that we need to change. What we have seen is that there's been a high level of acceptance that we should link the responsibility to producers and consumers. And legislation in most parts of big countries and important countries from a production side have been instituted and is gradually, hopefully, improving the collection, improving the treatment. We have also created a new industry because when I started to work on these ideas, there were no recycling companies in many of the areas. And we have seen much more recycling. And to some extent, we have seen better products. Some of the manufacturers are definitely spending effort in finding out how to do better products, though they are sometimes not putting it on the market because they don't think that they can cover the higher costs. Now, when I go to countries where people are less interested in environment, and we have a country in the northern part of America where the interest has been on a lower level at many times, they want to say that producers can't take all the blame. You can't make us responsible as producers for everything. And I've tried to say that I've never created something in order to blame someone. That's not the purpose. I want to solve problems, and I want to solve it in an efficient and effective way. And that means that you have to allocate responsibility so that you are solving problems. And in this case, and as in many cases, you should give responsibility to the ones who can change. And here it happens to be producers who can change more. But as consumers, we have to bring in our share. But without the producers and their work, it will be very, very difficult for us. Finally, I want to take with you something. I want to tell you that you should be optimistic. You should believe that it's possible. And technology and technical development plays a very big role in this. And as we are talking sustainability, we should also recognize that we have opportunities to design much more sustainable solutions. Now, some people are counting and they are doing what we call life cycle assessment and other types of assessment. And sometimes they're telling us that, no, it's no idea to do this. Often they are looking at some new solutions which have not been optimized. And they say, no, it's better as it is. With all the problems, we won't solve it. And one of these problems I have been facing in the Swedish reality is that they have said, don't recycle cartons for milk and for other products like that. It doesn't pay off. It takes too much of energy. You are standing there, too much of time, too much money. So I had to make a picture at home how my wife and I, we have solved this problem. We're asking for one of the family members to take care of this. And our cat has been playing the role of recycler. And she has been, or he has been cleaning all the packaging. And he loves it. And we are not losing any food either because it's very, very clean afterwards. And then she will clean her paws, so it's really not a problem. And what I want to say is not that everyone should have a cat or a dog who's doing this. I want to say that we have to believe in creativity, and we have to understand that there are other solutions. We can do new things, and we need policies and practices that are helping this to happen. And we need honest practitioners out there in the world who are really doing what they are supposed to do. So let's see to that we have the rules. Let's see to that someone is following the rules, and we will see amazing things happening. I'm working with young people all the time in university, and I've learned that there is so much which you can do. And I'm learning every day. And I think we should all do, and also see that things are really happening in reality. So thank you for your attention. And I will stay online for the next sessions also. So if there's an opportunity, I may come in and try to take part of a discussion.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for your presentation. And we really love for you to stay throughout the event today. Thank you for motivating us and telling us to be optimistic that there are solutions possible and there is a change that will come. And introducing us to the very important, the backbone of the Indian e-waste handling rules as well, the extended producer responsibility. There are a few questions for you, sir, if I could just read them out for you. There is a question from Dr. Abhishek Bhatia. With increasing population of the world entering the middle income group for the first time in history, keeping consumption in check seems like an important objective to focus upon. What is your opinion on this?
I think that we must realize that people want to consume, and people are getting the opportunity to consume, they will consume. I have had a very privileged life in living in a country where I've had it and I understand it. But what we have to start to realize is that you should consume in a more clever way. You should go not for quantity, but for quality. And I think that's the important change. We have to kind of see to that what we are doing in our lives has the quality aspect, not that we show that we are rich enough to buy a lot and consume a lot, but that we are consuming in a good way. We have to change our lives, not the least in the affluent part of the world. We are ridiculous in many cases. So yes, there are changes to be done. And I think thinking about what gives you real pleasure and what is made of quality is the way we should go forward.
Thank you very much, sir. So there's one more question. If the efforts at making production better involve more costs or better technology, how do we make sure that the MSMEs are included in this endeavor as well?
Yeah. I mean, it's not easy to design products. There's a lot of things you should try to incorporate. And I simply think that we have to be cleverer than we have been, also in these processes, and we have to include more factors. Now, I know that companies, designers are able to do a lot of what is needed. They just have to understand that we as a society want these things. We are going to reward them for this. So it's a process, but I think we should be clear and we should pronounce our wish for a sustainable society, and we should be able to spend our resources on what is sustainable in the future. So we all play a role in this and making it interesting for companies to be part of this process.
Thank you very much, sir. There are quite a few questions directed towards for you to answer, but since we are a little bit over time, is it all right if we proceed with the next session, and we could you could maybe answer them over the chat, or we could mail them to you based on your convenience?
I try to answer in the chat when I can. So let's see afterwards if there's questions left.
Yes, sir. Thank you. We really look forward to your input throughout the day. Thank you so much for joining in, and thank you so much for addressing our participants today.
Okay.
Priyanka, would you like to take over?